Yes, ma'am.
So basically, we are going to start with the central problem. See, right now, whatever I'll be teaching you, definitely you'll be getting it, right? There are
Yes.
but you have to revise it because in exam hall,
Okay.
you have to write the exact lines, okay?
Hmm.
You are not
Okay.
going to make your own story, right?
Hmm.
Because this is not a literature subject, this is story subject, right?
Okay.
So you need to, what you need to do, you need to learn the things, right? You need to
Yes.
do everything. See, whatever I've written here, I've just tried to make this in simple form, okay? The
Okay.
answers and everything, I've just frame out in a simple way. So this is what you have to learn, okay? Okay. So let's just start. So central problem of an economy. Basically, there were three central problems. Just tell me what were the three central problems. Check your notes. Dina, you are not audible.
Three central problems, scarcity of resources.
Central problems.
Yeah, this one, what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce.
Yes, these are the problem. If I'll ask you what are the reason, yeah, what are the causes
Okay.
of central problem, then the scarcity of resources are limited, or wants have unlimited, alternative uses of resources, all this will be explaining.
Okay.
But when I say what are central problem, basically there are only three central problem or economic problem: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce.
Okay.
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 Okay. So central problems of an economy. So first is what to produce and in what quantity. Now, ma'am, what is this? What to produce you already know, but
Yeah.
along with all that, you need to get the quantity as well. Why? For example, it's your mother, it's a father, brother, and you, right?
Okay.
So, for example, you wanted to eat pizza, so you must be wondering, na, mom, I want to eat 2 pizza, 3 pizza, 4 pizza, like this, right? So, along with what she needs to produce, she needs to even think about the quantity, like how much pizza she needs to prepare, right? And
Yes.
how much one plate, 2 plate noodles, how much noodles she needs to prepare. So what to produce, and along with what to produce, the quantity as well. Okay. Now, ma'am, what to produce? So this is also called the problem of allocation of resources. Now, ma'am, what is allocation of resources? Okay. So now we'll just understand it. Just a minute. Okay, so ma'am, what is allocation of resources? Okay, you just have to remember the words. Okay, for example, this is your home. Okay, this is
Okay.
your kitchen. This is your bedroom. This is your drawing room. This is your guest room. Okay,
Okay.
you bought a new refrigerator.
Okay.
Right? The courier person came and this is your entrance gate. Okay,
Okay.
so he placed the refrigerator here. Okay.
Okay.
What he did, he located it, right? He bought from the shop, he bought it to your place, so he basically located it, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
now what you will do, you will be putting this, this refrigerator in kitchen, right? You won't be
Yes.
putting this refrigerator in guest room or in bedroom or in washroom. No, you are going to put this refrigerator in your kitchen. So basically what you are doing, you are relocating it,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
allocating you can say, or you can say relocating it, right?
Okay.
Allocating is basically putting the things in the right place, right? For example,
Yes.
if it is refrigerator, definitely you are going to put it in kitchen. So that means you are allocating it, right?
Yes.
Allocating means locating. It's from location. So
Yes.
where it belongs. For example, if it is your furniture, for example, your bed, right? So you
Yes.
will be putting that bed not in kitchen. You will be putting that bed in your
Right.
yeah. So basically, this is what reallocation, or you can say allocation is. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So this is so basically this is the problem. Like this is also like what to produce is a problem, which is also known as problem of allocation of resources. Right. Now you must be wondering where I have to keep this resource, because we have very limited resources. So there are lots of people who are demanding. Right. So you have to think where you need to put those resources. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is related to selection of good, as all goods cannot be produced. For example, this is a piece of wood, right? So
Yes.
you have to select the goods, like what you need to produce. For example, whether you want to produce furniture, whether you want to produce paper, whether you want to prepare bed, right? So it
Yeah.
is related to selection of good. As why you are selecting the goods? Because all the goods cannot be produced, right? Because
Yes.
we have resource, because our resources are limited, right?
Yes.
Therefore, a choice has to be made in order to decide what good has to be produced. Okay. And after a decision has been taken on types of good, quantities of this good should be decided because resources are limited, right? Once, for example, you decided that I'll be producing bed, right? Then you have to decide that how many beds. Why?
Yeah.
Because you have limited resources, right? So you have to decide, ma'am, I want to produce 2 beds, 3 beds, 4 beds, like this. Okay. So this is first you will decide what to produce, whether you want to produce bed, whether you want to produce paper, whether you want to produce furniture. Once you are done with that, you have to decide the quantity, how many beds, how many pens, how many furniture, like this. Okay. So this is the first problem is what to produce and in what quantity. So this is also called the problem of allocation of resources. You have to remember this first line. For every problem, there is a name, right? So
Okay.
problem of allocation of resources. Sometimes you get the question, explain the problem of allocation of resource, right? So at that moment, you must be wondering, oh my God, what is that? We heard about only 3 problems, what to produce, how
Yes.
to produce, right? So you have to remember the alternate name as well. Okay. So what is this? This problem is related to basically selection of goods, right? Why? As all goods cannot be produced because resources are limited. Therefore, a choice has to be made in order to decide what good has to be produced, right? After the decision has been taken on types of goods, quantities of this good should be decided because resources are limited. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Now, example. Okay. See, if you are getting the question like this that explain the central problems, you are not going to write examples. Okay. But in case if you are getting the question like this, explain the problem of what to produce. Right. So in
Okay.
that case, you are going to include example because you have to make a good content. Right.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you are getting the question, then you just have to write this. No need to put examples. Okay. Now, if for example, what I told you, this is a problem of allocation of resources. You have to make a choice what to produce. Right.
Yes.
So it is like choice between consumption goods. Consumption goods are basically the goods which we eat or which we use,
Okay.
right? And capital goods are basically the goods like machines, tools. For example, if I have my laptop with me, it's a machine, right? If I have a printing machine, it's a machine,
Yeah.
right? If I have a hammer with me, it's a tool, right? So
Yeah.
basically, you have to make a choice between consumption good or capital good. Whether you want to produce consumption good, like the people who are going to use it or eat it, or the capital good which will be helping in further production. For example, I bought a printing machine that will be helping in production of books, like helping printing, right?
Yeah.
So you have to make a choice between whether you want to produce consumption good or capital good, or a choice between civil good. Civil good are basically the normal people which we use, right? And okay, and goods like guns, fight, and war. You can say civil goods or other goods. Okay, civil goods and the military goods, even you can write it here, like the guns, fighter, you just write it military good. Okay, so civil means civil people, right? But
Yes.
military means the military one. So whether we need to produce it for civil people like watch, shoes, and all that, or whether we need to produce things for military people. Military people like they need guns, they need fighter aircraft and all that, right? So
Yes.
there you have to make a choice between all this goods. Then when you have to make a choice, of course, it's a problem. And what this problem? This is problem of what to produce and in what quantity, right? And this is also known as problem of allocation of resources,
Resources.
right?
Yes.
So you can zoom it from your end.
Sorry, ma'am.
You can zoom it, or do you want me to zoom it?
No, it's okay. I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Just write it down and then I'll scroll it down. Just give the
Okay.
heading, central
Okay.
problems of an economy. Just write it down and then I'll just scroll it down for the example part. Okay.
Okay. Ma'am, can you scroll it down? Ma'am, done.
Oh, got it? Any query?
No, ma'am.
Okay, now second problem is how to produce, right? I
Yes.
have to choose the technique, whether I'm going to use, for example, if you want to produce noodles, so there are two methods. Either you will be using machine or you'll be cooking the food with your hand, right? So how to produce? Now, first we'll understand the name, like how to produce is also known as. So this is also called the problem of choice of technique of production. So this is you have to, make a choice between a technique, like which technique you're going to use, right? So basically, in an economy, there are two techniques. First is labor intensive technique and second is capital intensive technique, right? So ma'am, what is labor intensive technique? So it uses more of labor and less of capital. Capital is basically machine, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So labor intensive means I am intense, that deep, right? So labor
Yes.
intensive means I'm using more labor and less machine, right?
Yes.
And
Okay.
capital intensive is I'm using more capital, which is machine, and less of labor. Clear?
Yes, clear.
So a choice has to made whether, for example, I want to produce paper. So whether I'm going to use labor or whether I'm going to use machine, right? So a
Yes.
choice has to made whether to use labor intensive technique or capital intensive technique or combination of both, right? 50% labor and 50% machine, right? In order to produce maximum. See, your main motive is you want to produce maximum,
Yes.
right? You don't want to produce one or two. So you will be choosing the technique which will be suitable. For example, if you want to produce two chapati, then you
Yeah.
will be using labor intensive. That is fine, right? Only two
Yes.
chapati. But if you want to produce 100 chapati, you will be using machine, right?
Yes.
But in case you want to produce, like for example, if you want to produce 1,000 chapati, you'll be using machine. But in case it is 50, you'll be using 50. You'll say your mom will be saying that I'll be cooking it plus I'll be using machine
Yeah.
combination, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
therefore, a choice has to whether you want to use labor intensive or the capital intensive technique or the combination of both. Okay, and your main motive should be that you want to produce maximum. Okay. Okay. Now, for example, to produce wheat, right? Agriculture portion to produce wheat, land may be cultivated with large amount of labor and less machine, right? So, if
Yes.
you want to cultivate the land, right? So you
Yeah.
can use large labor because you have seen that in agriculture field most of the farmers are there and they are
Yes.
using labor, right? So
Yeah.
large of labor and less of machine, right?
Yes.
Alternative, the same output may be obtained by less labor. See, in case what you can do, you can use tech tractor and all that,
Yeah.
cutting machine, harvesting machine and all that. So you can also use less labor and more machine, right?
Yes.
Therefore, the problem to decide which method is best for production arises, and this problem is known as problem of making a choice of technique, which is known as how to produce. How should I make chapati? Whether I should use machine or whether I should use labor, right?
Yes.
So how to produce, this is also first the name, choice of technique of production. There are two techniques, labor intensive and capital intensive. Therefore, a choice has to make whether you want to use labor intensive technique or the capital intensive technique, right? Or the combination of both. An example, see, if you want to produce wheat, you can use more of labor and less of capital.
Yes.
Plus, you can use more of capital and less of labor, right? Therefore, a choice has to make whether I should use this or whether I should use that. So therefore the problem arises where you have to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll write it down.
Ma'am, can you scroll down? Ma'am, done.
Okay. Dina, you are getting it right.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now the last problem. Okay, for whom to produce, right? So this is also called the problem of distribution of national income among the factor of production, right? Now I have prepared everything. So of course I'll be, distributing it, right?
Yes.
Like, yes, this is for you, this is for this pizza is for you, this pizza, this burger is for you, like this. So this is also called the problem of distribution of national income. Like whatever you have produced, you'll be getting money, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
whoever helped you in the production, so you'll be distributing the national income among them. So this is also called the problem of distribution of national income among the factor of production. This problem deals with determining the final consumer of the goods and produce. Like for example, you have produced everything. Now what you have to do, you have to find the final consumer who is going to eat it, right? For example, you said, ma'am, I want bed, right? I produce 5 bed. Okay, now
Yeah.
I have to find who is going to consume that bed, because I'll be selling that bed to that person. He is going to consume it, and whatever money I'll be getting, I'll be distributing it whoever helped me in production of bed,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So this problem deals with determining the final consumer of the good produced. As resources are scarce in economy, it becomes difficult to cater all the selection of the society. Now, for example, I produced bed. Okay. Now see, everybody needs bed, right? You
Yes.
need bed, I need bed, some other people. But I have only one bed with me. I cannot give
Yes.
that bed to everyone. So I have to decide the consumer as well. That who is most needy, who wants this bed the most, right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
therefore, this the problem arises for whom to produce, right? For poor
Yeah.
section, for rich section, for medium middle class family, for whom to produce this situation
Yes.
comes. Now, for example, essential goods and services are in demand for all sections of society. See, there are few essential sections like water, food, medicine. These are like no matter whether you are rich, whether you are poor, yet whether you are of middle class, right? So
Yeah.
essential goods, they are in demand for all the section of an economy, right?
Yeah.
But only certain section of society have a demand for luxury commodity. Luxury commodity, essential good, everyone is demanding. Whether you are poor, whether you are rich, whether you are from middle class, right? But luxury
Yes.
goods, who is demanding? Only rich people are demanding, right? At the same time, choice of goods and services rest on prevalent taste and preferences is an economy in an economy. Hence, consideration regarding the social economic condition of a country or market are highly pertinent to the problem. Okay, so you don't have to write all this things. Just write till here has demand for luxury commodity. At the same time, choice of goods and services rest on prevalent taste and preference in economy has to be made.
Okay.
Has to be made. Now I'll just explain you. Has to be made. Okay. For
Okay.
example, you said, ma'am, I want bed. Okay. So I said, okay, I'll be producing bed. But for whom I'm going to produce it? For example, if I'm producing it for rich people, then I have to put it in very luxurious form and
Yes.
all that, right? But if
Yes.
I'm producing that bed for the poor people, then I'm going to keep it very simple, right?
Yeah.
So this is what the problem is, that, ma'am, now you know what to produce, right? But I have to decide what to produce. I know that I want to produce bed. Okay, how I'm
Yes.
going to produce it? I'm going to use machine. That also fine. But now, just a minute, so sorry. Okay, now the thing is that for whom to produce, whether I want to produce a luxurious bed or the normal bed, right? So,
Yes.
and after that, once the consumer will be finalized, whether I'm producing for poor section, middle section, or the higher section, after that, the problem will be I have to distribute the national income as well, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So basically, example is essential goods and services are in demand for all section of the society. Essential good everyone needs, right?
Yes.
But certain section of society have demand for luxury commodity. Only few people demand for luxury commodity. At the same time, choice of goods and services rest on prevalent taste and see. For example, maybe I am rich person, but I don't like luxury bag, right?
Okay.
So it depends on taste and preferences as well. Therefore, choices of goods and services rest on means based on prevalent taste and preferences in an economy has to be made, right? So you have to make a choice for whom you want to produce it, right? And so
Yes.
that you can determine the income, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first you'll write this.
Ma'am, can you scroll down? Ma'am, done.
Okay. So basically we are done with this. Okay. So what we are going to do right now, like you'll be revising everything like related to problem, like the first day, the economy and all that, the central problems, plus all this thing. Okay. And you let me know that ma'am, I'm facing issue in this statement or anything. Okay. Okay, Dina, you can do one more thing. Like you have the syllabus, right?
Yes.
So whatever what we have covered, just check your syllabus and just mark it
Okay.
down. Okay. So that
Okay.
you'll also, we feel confident once we are done with most of the topic. We feel confident that yes, okay, we have
Yes.
covered a good portion. So you can just let me know. We are done with micro macro, right? Yeah. We are done with this. We are done with meaning of micro and macro, right? You can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. We are done with this. We are done with what is an economy, right?
Yes.
We are done with like this central problem of economy, what to produce, how to produce, for
Yes.
whom to produce. Okay, till here we are done. So we are left with first positive and normative economics, that will be doing tomorrow, and
Okay.
then we'll be doing the PPC, that will be taking a entire one class, whole class, right?
Okay.
Because here, and then this OC. So basically, I'll be taking your two more classes for this chapter, right?
Okay.
And after that, one more class for the revision, like where I'll be sharing question and you will be answering it orally, right? Will be
Okay.
like, because in exam hall there are no fixed questions, right? You can get
Yes.
anything, right? So we need to understand the question what the examiner is asking. So
Yes.
2 days we'll be doing this, like we'll be covering this and this, and after that we'll be doing one class will be for your assessment, like where we'll be discussing question and answers, right? Like how
Okay.
in exam hall questions come, and then next after that I'll take your test. Okay.
Okay.
So that will be subjective test. Like I'll be giving you the question paper, you'll be writing it down and you'll be sharing a PDF with. Okay.
Okay.
And then I
Okay.
will mark it. So you have to now you have a better understanding that okay, after 3 classes I'll have my test, right? So
Yes.
you have at least good 1 week. So start learning, because main
Okay.
motive is learning, right? Whatever you are
Yes.
getting it, now you have to work on learning portion. You have to learn things. So from today onwards, you can start like first just learn the difference between micro, then just learn tomorrow you can learn causes of central problem. Next day you can learn, what the central problems, like what to produce, how to produce,
Yes.
and so like this you can divide it, because when I'll be conducting your test, right? So
Okay.
divide it, and I'm expecting full marks from your end.
Yes.
Okay.